It's clear that you don't. The debate around Green Pass is all over Europe, okay, and it's clear that you don't want it. Do you have an idea, an alternative that you want to propose, or do you think we just should do like nothing is happening and live our life normally? And regarding the obligation of vaccination, Green Pass is also about getting tested. You don't have to be vaccinated; you can get tested. Especially in the European Parliament, you got the privilege to have free tests, something that other people don't. Don't you think would be an alternative for you, just taking a test? Thank you.
Ms. Donata?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, the fact is that it's not true that all over Europe we have COVID certificates demanded for exercising our freedom. The COVID certificate was introduced by this Parliament just to favor the free circulations among between member states in the moment when the borders were closed because of the pandemic spread. And that's the reason why the Parliament voted for that measure, with the guarantee of not allowing any discrimination between citizens, and especially for non-vaccinated citizens. What we're seeing today is an abuse of that certificate, a distortion of its purpose, and the alternative is just leaving people free to exercise their rights, their right to free circulation, the right to work, the right to live a full and completely life in dignity. Because tests are too a medical treatment, and we cannot be forced even to have tests each 48 hours, because imposing tests only to not vaccinated people is just the discrimination, because it introduces a sort of presumption, absolute presumption of being infective for people who are not vaccinated, which is totally unfounded on the scientific point of view, because unvaccinated people very often are immune to COVID for recovery, or in any case are healthy, perfectly healthy people. And the risk of being infective is not related to being vaccinated or not. So there is no legal or scientific basis for this measure.
Thank you very much. Can I have any other journalists here with questions, please? Well, can I ask online, the journalist online there from ANSA, if they'd like to raise their hand and to ask a question?
Yes, I see that there's a question from Laura Zornoza. I'm going to read the question out. I was wondering if the speakers are planning any action against the European Parliament, or what are the next steps for this group. We had already 2 press conferences, and I would say this is just the beginning of what is coming. And as we said today, we will use all the democratic tools available to fight for everybody's rights. Nevertheless, we should not ever forget that we are supposed to live in a European Union where freedom, where liberty should be considered fundamental and inalienable rights. Nobody should negotiate on our freedoms. And we are at a point right now where even in this House, in the European Parliament, a small group of people decided unilaterally that us as MEPs, our assistants, and the employees of the Parliament, many of them have been working for these institutions, for decades. But sadly, many of them have medical conditions. And I want to read what someone working for the Parliament sent me. And I think many Europeans can feel the pain of this person. The person wrote to us and said, I write to you because I have been recognized a serious neurodegenerative illness. For this, I have avoided to be vaccinated. I don't wish my illness to get worse and to lose my fragile health balance I have hardly achieved so far. According to the communication of the Secretary General of the European Parliament that was sent out yesterday, I should be tested once or twice a week with all the consequences linked to the stress. Have they thought about the fact that people like me, willing to work, being active, are discouraged and will get exhausted considering the complications of a Green Pass, we pass all these resolutions in the plenary where we all acknowledge the rights of people who are sick, who have different disabilities. Many of them are working for this House. They want to serve the citizens. So with what was imposed yesterday here, it's affecting their basic fundamental right. So to restate what I said, we will do everything it takes to fight for freedom and liberty of every European citizen.